Laudetur Jesus Christus, Vatican and World News.
Here in the headlines this Thursday, December 24th, Pope Francis urges South Sudan's political leaders to kickstart a faltering peace process and expresses his closeness to the suffering people of Lebanon. A deadly massacre in western Ethiopia leads to a heavy-handed reprisal from the government, and the prefect of the Vatican's Dicastery for Communication shares his thoughts on this Christmas in a pandemic. In the Vatican, I'm Devin Watkins. Pope Francis today signed an ecumenical Christmas message sent to political leaders in South Sudan. In his greetings with Protestant leaders in the UK, the Pope urged the African nation's politicians to make greater strides along the path of peace and service to the nation. Christopher Wells reports.
This year, once again, Pope Francis has sent Christmas greetings to the political leaders of South Sudan. As with last year's message, the Pope was joined by the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, and the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Scotland, the Reverend Martin Fair, in signing the Christmas greetings. The three begin their message with a reminder of the humble earthly beginnings of the Son of God. In this Christmas season, we remember that our Lord Jesus Christ came into the world among the least, in a dusty stable with animals, they write. Later, they add, he called those who wished to be great in his kingdom to be the servant of all. At their historic meeting in the Vatican in April 2019, Pope Francis offered South Sudan's leaders a concrete example of humility when he knelt to kiss their feet. Referencing that encounter in their message, the Pope and the two other Christian leaders urged the African nation's politicians to remember their commitments to bring their country to a smooth implementation of the peace agreement. They also recalled their pledge to visit South Sudan in due course as things return to normalcy. We've been glad to see the small progress you have made, but know it is not enough for your people to feel the full effect of peace, they caution. Pope Francis, Archbishop Welby, and Reverend Fair repeated their desire to visit in order to bear witness to a changed nation, governed by leaders who hold hands, united, as simple citizens, to become fathers and mothers of their nation. The leaders concluded their Christmas greetings praying that South Sudan's political leaders might know greater trust among themselves and a greater generosity of service to their people. We pray you know the peace that surpasses understanding in your own hearts and in the heart of your great nation. I'm Christopher Wells.
Pope Francis today also wrote a letter to the people of Lebanon to express his closeness in this time of suffering. The Pope also appealed to political leaders and the international community to help the nation overcome the socio-economic crisis that has engulfed it. As Linda Bordoni reports, the Pope highlights the rich spiritual heritage of the Lebanese people.
I am deeply troubled to see the suffering and anguish that has sapped the native resilience and resourcefulness of the land of cedars, Pope Francis said in a Christmas Eve letter to the people of Lebanon. The nation has been struggling with a deep political and economic crisis, and the aftermath of the Beirut port explosion of the 4th of August that killed over 200 people, displaced thousands, and compounded an economic downturn that has raised serious concerns regarding the country's capacity to recover. In the letter addressed to His Beatitude Cardinal Bichara Boutros Rai, Patriarch of Antioch of the Maronites and President of the Assembly of the Catholic Patriarchs and Bishops of Lebanon, the Pope said he hopes to visit as soon as possible, and he expressed his sorrow in particular for the many young people of Lebanon, whom he said have been robbed of any hope for a better future. In a heartfelt appeal to political and religious leaders in the nation and beyond, he reminded them of their responsibility to act on behalf of the people and seek the best interest of the public. Your time, he said, should not be dedicated to pursuing your own gain. Your action is not for yourselves, but for the state and the nation you represent. Finally, he addressed the international community, asking it to help Lebanon to stand apart from conflicts and regional tension, help it to surmount this grave crisis and resume a normal existence. I'm Linda Bordoni.
Britain and the European Union today agreed a Brexit trade deal just ahead of Christmas and only 7 days before it exits the EU. At a press conference announcing the deal, the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the negotiations were tough, but that both sides have come out well. She said it is time to turn the page and look to the future. The agreed deal must now be approved by the UK Parliament and ratified by all 27 EU member states by December 31st. Ethiopia's prime minister has deployed troops to the western Beni Shangul Gumuz region in response to a massacre of over 100 people. Government troops quickly added to the death toll, killing over 40 suspected rebels, as Nathan Morley reports.
Reports from the country say the Ethiopian army responded to an outbreak of violence by killing at least 42 militants in the west of the country. Locals in the village of Bikoji, near Bulan, said that armed men began a massacre just after sunrise. A local doctor gave medical assistance to 38 people. Most of them were suffering from gunshot injuries. The attack on civilians came just 24 hours after a visit by the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. A local farmer told the Reuters news agency that he had counted 82 bodies in a field close to his farm. The government blamed a local separatist militia and sent in the army to launch a revenge attack early today. In all, they killed at least 42 militiamen and captured a cache of weapons. The attacks are not related to the ongoing conflict in the Tigray region in the north of the country. This massacre comes after a number of deadly outbreaks of violence between rival ethnic groups in Ethiopia. Just last month, 34 people were killed when armed men attacked a bus in Dabate. There have also been reports of civilians being targeted whilst they're trying to flee the violence. Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission warned last month of the unrelenting pace of attacks in the region. The government said to solve the root causes of the problem, it's now deployed a necessary force to the region. For Vatican News, this is Nathan Morley reporting.
Returning to Europe, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, over 1,000 hard-up migrants were left out in the cold after their camp burnt to the ground. Authorities say the blaze was likely caused by migrants unhappy over a temporary closure of the camp in Lipa. Stefan Boss has the story.
Thick black smoke is arising from the Lipa camp near the Croatian border. At least 1,200 migrants fleeing war, persecution and poverty have been staying here since summer. The camp was set up to stop the coronavirus spread here in the northern part of Bosnia. But the fire has now destroyed this temporary shelter. Residents are running away in panic from the blaze, but no injuries were immediately reported. Bosnian officials claim the blaze started because the planned closure of the camp had triggered anger among migrants. Witnesses say the fire appeared to have started in a fuel storage facility and quickly spread to the tents where the migrants lived. Bosnia has become a bottleneck for thousands of migrants hoping to reach neighboring European Union member Croatia and then head towards wealthier, more welcoming EU nations. Some have complained about mistreatment and abuse by Croatian border police, pushing them back. Most refugees and migrants are stuck in Bosnia's northwestern Krajina region, as other areas in the ethnically divided nation have refused to accept them. And as winter sets in, many sleep near the still smoldering remains of the camp. Saeed Ali, a refugee from Afghanistan, appears desperate.
There's no place for immigrants, so we request to Croatia, they have to give stay for immigrants. We request to Germany, they have to do something for these people, for these immigrants.
Thousands of men, women and children now face a bleak Christmas here. Many have been sleeping outdoors in makeshift tent camps or abandoned houses with no facilities in the area, which already saw the first snow earlier this month. For Vatican News, I am Stefan Bos, reporting.
And finally, the birth of Jesus is the most powerful sign of hope in a world darkened by the shadows of fear and uncertainty caused by the coronavirus pandemic. In this Christmas, we are bringing you the voices of religious leaders and heads of Christian organizations as they look to a future in which no one is saved alone. Dr. Paolo Ruffini, the prefect of the Vatican's Dicastery for Communications, shares his thoughts on how the pandemic can change our experience of Christmas for the better.
Hello and Merry Christmas. I know we are all thinking that this year Christmas will be so different, and this is true, but different from what? Maybe we have to change our point of view? Is it really the COVID virus that has taken Christmas away from us? Or did we choose the wrong way to Christmas long ago? So let us remember Mary and Joseph alone, far from home, dealing with an extraordinary event, announced but unpredictable, bigger than themselves. It is not that easy to remember in a world that is losing its memory. But the pandemic is forcing us to think about the essence of things, choosing, as Pope Francis says, between what matters and what passes away, separating what is necessary from what is not. Why did God become man? What are we doing on the earth? How can we look ahead in these days of sorrows and fears? What are we remembering and celebrating? Where are we heading? What is the Christmas? What is the happiness we are looking for? Perhaps what has seized Christmas and happiness from us is the selfish consumerism that makes us always focused on ourselves. So, the best wish that we can make to others and to ourselves is to rediscover the we instead of the I, to look forward instead of backward, and to change course for a better time. In this unpredictable Christmas, let's not waste the opportunity that is offered to us. Let us look at baby Jesus and find him in all the children of the world. Let us see in every child the promise of a future we must not betray. Let us understand that Christmas is fulfilling the love of God for a humanity that is wounded, exhausted, abandoned, marginalized, discarded. On the eve of this Christmas, in a time of pandemic, let us stop and look at the faces of the smiles of the children born in this difficult year. It is beautiful to read in their eyes the word to come, and to hope and pray that it will be better. But the truth is, it is also up to us. Let us wish for the grace of understand. Let us live a Merry Christmas. Let us start a new way after this Christmas, just like what happened 2,000 years ago. It is possible. Merry Christmas.
Thanks there to Dr. Paolo Ruffini, Prefect of the Dicastery for Communication, for his Christmas greetings. That brings us to the end of this edition of Vatican and World News. For more on these and other stories, go to our web portal at www.vaticannews.va. There you can also find all of our broadcasts in podcast form. And don't forget to catch the latest updates on our Facebook page and Twitter feed. A very merry and blessed Christmas to you all. In the Vatican, I'm Devin Watkins.